Hello and welcome to another unloaded video. I'm Chris and today we're going to be looking at creating a slightly more advanced site than the site we've already created in our simple website tutorial. So this is the web development video. If you're interested in web development, this is where you should be looking at. If you have not watched our simple website tutorial, I suggest you do so before watching this one. So what we're going to start off with is we're going to go into Dreamweaver. Go to File, New Document, and we're going to select HTML. We're going to then select XHTML 1.0 Strict, which is this one here. As we've previously done, we're going to indent our code, so we're going to indent that. We're going to give our website a name, so I'm going to call this one Dench PC Repairs. And before we do anything, I'm going to save the file. So if we could go into Unloaded, Chris, let's create a new one. So we're going to go to slightly more advanced website. So it's not the best name in the world, but there you go. So we're going to select that as index, which is a default file name for everything. So what we're going to do is go into New and create a CSS file before we even do anything else. Then going to save that. And the way I like to do things is to create a different folder called CSS and put it in there. So I'm going to call this one style.css. Now we're going to need to include that CSS file, so we're going to go to there and put in link rel equals style sheet. So that's style sheet, and then we're going to put the type in, which is text-css, which is there. Then a href to the document. So for this one it's css/style.css. I'm going to show you where it actually is. I'm going to go into browse. If I go back to the actual root, so this is the root here. If you're going to CSS style, we then link that. Then we're going to do that. So that's our style sheet hooked up and ready. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the body of the document, and we're going to make sure that there's a space there. So next we're going to go into the CSS file. Now the first thing which I like to do, as you may have found out from my first tutorial, which is a simple website tutorial, is set out an override for the browser default settings. So we're going to go a star and then this weird thing here, I'm not sure what you call it, margin 0 pixels, and then padding 0 pixels. So that's that done. Now I'm going to close that. I am also going to put a body thing in here, so we're going to put body, and let's just say we want a colour of, let's go background colour. Remember, this is the American way of spelling it. Background colour, and let's go for a slightly creamy one, so we're going to go around here. Let's choose something like that, so we can go with that one. So that's that done. Now we need to semicolon. I'm also going to set a font family, as I usually do. I'm going to call it Verdana, that one at the top there. So that's that one. I'm going to close that. So if we save all, we go to the design part, you can now see that the entire page is full of a goldy yellow colour. So we're going to go back to code, we're going to go back to the style.css, and we're going to start off with making a container class. So we're going to put in container, start it off. We're going to make the website width of 1000, which basically means that the website will be a maximum of 1000 pixels across. That is anything within the container class. So that's that done there. I'm also going to set a margin of 10 pixels and auto, as I did in my previous video. It's done there. Oops. Now, before I forget, I'm going to quickly, I've got two open here, switch to that one. I'm going to quickly go into here and I'm going to indent it, and I'm going to put div id equals container. So this basically allows me to put anything in here which comes under the container class. So let's start off with adding an image to the top. So I've previously made an image already. This image is going to be included by putting image source, and then the path to the image. So the image itself is actually, let's go to, I think I put it in here, yep, there we are. So this is the image here, I'm going to put that in here. And logo new, so this is the logo which I made, I'm going to call it logo, and I'm going to stick it in a folder called images. Now, that's now in there. As you can see, the URL is now images, so basically it's /images. Click on that, it changes to there. If I was to go to another folder and you were to put it on a website, so there, it would not work. So we're going to go into images and include that there. I'm going to set the width to 1000. I'm going to set the height to 210 pixels, which is there, and I'm also going to give it an alternate name, which is Dench PC Repairs Banner. So that's that done. So we should now have a banner at the top of the page, which is here. Seems to have worked. If we hit F12, save changes to index, we've now got it here. So we've made a good start. Now we're going to now put a menu in the website. So we're going to start off with going back into the CSS file, and we're going to make a unordered list. So we're going to start off with going with unordered list. I am going to call it menu. So we're going to call that's menu. Don't want that. Menu. I'm going to give it a explanation here, just so I know what it does. So we're going to call it properties for the menu. Let's just call it that. Now start off with a list style, because we do not want a list style. We're going to call that none. Then going to go with text align, because we obviously want to align all the text to the center. Otherwise the menu would look really weird. I'm going to give it a margin of 10 pixels and 0 pixels there. I'm going to give it a little bit of padding. Let's say 5 pixels and 0 pixels. There we go. And we're going to close it. What I may do is actually add a background in a minute, so I'm going to put background dash color. Let's just do that in a minute. Let's give it a random color here, so it's going to put blue. So we're going to put that there, go for the front. There we go, so we've cancelled that out. So we've made that now. So now we're going to go back into the source code, and we're going to put the unordered list into the document. So let's reset this a minute. Ooh, hang on. So we're going to start off with UL, because it's an unordered list, the ID, which is the menu, as we've already done here, and we need a class as well. So the class I am going to call, what should we call it? Let's call it menu class. That's a bit of a hum there. Let's call it menu class. Now there's not one defined yet, because we haven't done it in the CSS, so we're going to do that. Now I'm just going to close it quickly, so we know that it's there. So that's that done. Now I'm going to go back into CSS and define the menu class, which is going to be interesting. What we need to do now is obviously define the menu class, so I'm going to call it ul dot menu class. It's going to be a list item, and I want to display it inline. want to give it a padding of 10 pixels and 10 pixels. Now this property here will control the distance between the links, which we'll be adding, I believe, from memory. So hopefully that's going to work. We're now going to go and add another thing in here. I'm going to call it Lee nav item. Oops, forgot about that. Now this basically controls the properties for the individual items in the menu. So we're going to want to display it in line. We want a margin of 0 pixels and 20 pixels there. Padding 0 pixels. Oops, didn't go wrong there. And 15 pixels. On a border, we'll call it 1. I'm going to do 1 pixels and I'll make a solid colour. Let's make it I don't know, just for argument's purposes, let's put that. And I'm going to put a font size, oops, 13 pt, background colour, let's put that as that one as well, 603. So that one done, and a border, should we do a border? Yeah, let's do a border on each side. So we're going to do a border left with 1 pixels and a solid colour. So let's do a colour of blue, because obviously we want to distinguish it from the other one. And we also want to put a border on the left, right rather. So we're going to copy that, cheat a little bit, put right there. So that's completely done now. So we now want to go into our unordered list and add some items. So these pages, which I'll be creating, will basically be exactly the same, but they'll have different names. So let's say we want an About Us page. I'm going to save an exact mirror copy of it. Let's do a services page. So we want to offer our services through this page. Now we'll need to go through that in a minute and add all of the menu items. So let's start off with the index page. We want a list item here. We want a href. Oops. Then want to call it the index. We'll call this one the home page, as most websites have on the first link. So let's call it index.html. We want the home page. / and then it's already done. So that's the index page, and obviously the About Us page, which we just made, a href. Oops, do it again. Right, that's About Us. There we go, and we'll do one more as we did the services page. So list item, a href, so do it right this time. Services, there we go. So we'll call it services page. So that's that completed. So now, with any luck, save changes to index. We've now made ourselves a decent menu. So if you click on one of these links, take you straight to the other page, which doesn't have a menu in it because we haven't set one up in it yet. So just quickly, what I'll do is I'll add a bit of text down here, called h1 hello world. There you go. So that's basically how to create a simple website with a menu. In our next tutorial, we'll go further afield and create a slightly more advanced website with some more CSS and some JavaScript. Thank you for watching. Please visit our website at www.unnerded.com. Subscribe, comment, like, and enjoy. Thank you.